Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to be getting into some more fun stuff with our new home. We are going to be getting into the setup and put together of our house.
That's right. In this one video, which will encompass about 3 weeks of work, you're going to see our house go from where it was last as just onyx axles and wheels from delivery to what you see behind us. A completely set up home. The setup process for our home starts with the back half. Since we have our existing single-wide mobile home here, that was a hard line limiter as far as how they had access with machinery. So whenever our home was delivered, the crew was very specific on how they lined up the back half, so that's what they started with first. To greatly simplify the process, what they do is lift the home up, remove the wheels, and build blocks underneath to properly support the home while leveling it and adjusting everything along the way. In reality, just that process alone took several hours. It is a very complex and meticulous job, and if you have a crew who know what they're doing and take pride in their work, this will not be done super fast. And you don't want it to be done super fast. This is definitely one of those scenarios where you want quality work at a slower pace than a fast job that's just thrown together. Once the back half of the home was set and leveled, they then took all of the plastic off of the home sections, both the front and the back, exposing what is called the marriage wall. This is the portion of the home that when the two sections are put together, actually becomes an interior wall. So what you can see is a bunch of exposed framing. That is because they get put together and it's inside your home. Here you can see the framing of the home is true 2x4s, 3/4 inch tongue and groove OSB subfloor, and 2x8 floor joists, all on 16-inch centers. You're also able to see the various straps, bracing, wire connections, and other interesting internal components that are otherwise hidden inside your home's walls, or in this case, being the marriage wall, will very soon be hidden when the two halves are put together. Once the coverings were removed, the front half of the home was put into place and carefully walked up to the other one. Great care was taken to make sure the two lined up exactly right in all directions, including height, and a chain come along was also used to keep the floors from shifting as they bolted the two halves together. While this process appears quick on camera, the steps just to connect the two sections together under the home took over an hour of careful planning and work. The same steps for block piers and anchoring were used for the front half of the home, and then the whole roof was covered with plastic to protect it from any moisture overnight. Just the setup and connection of the two halves was a complete full day's worth of work for that crew of 4 guys. This video does not really give you guys a true sense of the amount of work that goes into this setup. The next day, the crews began the work for raising up our hinged roof. We did upgrade this home with 9-foot sidewalls or interior ceiling heights, and we put the upgraded roof on, which is a 512 pitch hinged roof. For me, these were the two upgrades that I really pushed for and wanted to do from day one to give our home a true home appearance versus a more traditional manufactured home. And in the end, as you guys will see when this process takes place and the final shots and all of that, it really does not look like a typical manufactured home. The crew used special pole jacks spaced apart at careful intervals to slowly and surely hoist up the roof one section at a time. Once the roof was raised, a small knee wall would pivot down from inside to support and hold the roof section in place permanently. While lifting the roof was quick and easy with the jacks, the majority of the work and time was spent inside the attic space, securing everything properly and also connecting the two house sections together at the top of the marriage wall. There was a large portion of our perspective of this work where the crew were missing. In fact, where they were was inside the attic space, walking on top of all of the rafters, the truss boards, or ceiling joists, just to work on connecting and physically attaching all the internal things inside our roof and attic space. With the roof raised, the crew then framed out the ridge section, the very final portion of our roof to form the peak. They then sheathed it with OSB, put down underlayment or roof tar paper, whichever one you want to call it, installed the shingles, and then cut and installed the vintage ridge cap to finish out our roof and dry in the house. The same crew was in charge of installing all of the plumbing underneath the home. All of our drain pipes, our septic connection, and our water line connections were done by this same crew. They also installed the trunk connection line for our HVAC system, which went from one half of the home to the other. They installed it under the home as it is designed, hanging it up and keeping it completely off of the ground. For the home's water supply, they not only connected to our water stub out, which we installed in a previous video, but they installed a proper pressure reducer, shut-off valves, and fully insulated the entire water line while also securing it and supporting it to the home as needed. In total, this one crew, who were in charge of setting up and connecting the home together, spent a total of 4 to 5 days, which again, this video doesn't do them justice on just the amount of work and attention to detail that they really did. Right towards the end of the main setup crew's work, a second crew rolled up, and these guys were the ones who handle all of the siding, sheathing, and closing up of the end walls of the home. They started off by installing the OSB sheathing to close up the marriage wall gap, then they installed house wrap, and after that they began installing the vinyl siding, working their way up from the bottom. The two-man crew were able to get the siding done up to the level of the eaves, but the rest of the job required a full crew of 4 to 5 guys. The process for closing up the top gable ends of the home was a lot more elaborate than I expected, but that was great to see. They began by removing the angled OSB sheathing and random boards installed by the factory. They then framed up the entire gable end of the home with 2x4s on 16-inch centers, sheathed it with OSB, added house wrap, then installed the siding. Just like with the setup crew, this video does not convey the amount of work and time spent in doing this job. Just this one side of the home is probably about 4 hours worth of work for all of the guys you see here, and nobody was standing around holding a shovel. Now let's talk about that beautiful block perimeter wall foundation. Throughout all this other construction, there was yet another crew working, but this was a crew of one. This is the block guy. His job was to do the split-faced cinder block perimeter wall around our home. I don't know if the video will pick it up very well, but the texture is very rough and kind of natural, and this is called split-face block. This is not a block that we'll have come back and have stuccoed and smoothed over. When it is done, it is done. And we like this one much, much better than the stucco appearance, which is what we had on our single wide. As far as the process of this guy's work, he started in the corners, building kind of what looked like pyramid shapes, because at that point, what he would then do is take a string line and from each course of block, go from the corner down here to the corner down there, and then set his block to where the top of the block was right at that string line. What this ensured is that from corner to corner, there would be a straight line of block and mortar, and there was no waviness or undulation as it spanned the 75 feet of the length of our home. The guy did all of this by himself, which made it take a little bit longer, but his quality of work was impeccable. Just like with all the other crews, we did not hover over top of this guy as he worked, sticking a camera in his face. So what we would normally do was watch him work from the RV, maybe set the camera up here or there, but then when he's done for the day, we would then come out from hiding and go check out and see the progress. One other thing we did, since our home is as large as it is, we added an extra door to get into the crawl space for a total of 2 underneath the home. We had them placed dead center on the ends of the home for the most ease of use if we do need to use them, but to also leave the front of our home nice and clean for appearances, as well as the back of the home. The front of the home is going to get backfilled, and it's going to have a different terrain of the land up front. The back, it may not get us backfilled as much, but we plan on doing a patio, a deck, some outdoor living spaces, and we didn't want to have the black metal door into our crawl space back there where we may want to put something in the future. So for us, the ends of the home worked great. I love the fact that they are centered, they are all metal, and honestly, for a door into your crawl space, I think they look pretty good. Well, here we are at the end of the video. Now Angela can be here to talk about some more fun or feeling stuff. They've heard me talk throughout this whole video, narrating the process, and the bolt did this and the crew did that. Please, give it a personal touch, honey.
It was really meaningful to get to watch it because this is our house and what we are going to be living in, and it was good to see how much care that the workers put into putting it together and making it what it is.
Absolutely. There was a lot of time where, okay, throughout this process, we mostly were out here in the front field running the camera or watching, and we weren't watching because we wanted to make sure they did a good job. We were just watching out of pure interest for you, and then for me, I'm like, I gotta get footage of everything to make a video. I've probably said it a ton in this video, but the amount of work that the crew did, it really was surprising. So what was your coolest thing you remember about the setup? What was your thing you liked to see the most?
I don't know. It's probably between them lifting up the roof. That was really cool. And then watching them pull the houses together, the two halves, pull them together and make them meet and it to work so well.
I think for me, the coolest part was, of course, the raising of the roof, because that was the most unique. But it also, at the same time, was a little lackluster because it went quick, it went smooth, and then it was over.
It's true.
It's one of those, don't blink or you'll miss it. But it was cool to see. And definitely this roof line makes the house look so much better.
It does. Well, guys, thanks for coming along as we saw our house put together. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time here.
See you guys.
Bye.